Women who appear younger than their actual age often possess a rare inner quality that Carl Jung would describe as a spiritual stillness, an internal harmony that radiates outward and subtly alters how they are perceived by the world. This trait is not about beauty products, expensive routines, or genetics alone. It is fundamentally rooted in the emotional and psychological energy they carry within themselves. Their youthfulness is, in many ways, a reflection of their inner world, calm, centered, grounded, and in touch with something deeper than the surface of day-to-day emotions. These women often move through life with an ease that is not forced but effortlessly natural, and this ease, this serene acceptance of life, creates an aura that seems untouched by time. People around them notice it immediately but struggle to explain it. It is not simply that they look young, but that they feel young, their presence giving off a sense of lightness that others instinctively respond to. This inner calm is not the absence of challenges, pain, or stress. Rather, it is a cultivated way of being that is born from how they have learned to process and respond to the world around them. Most people live constantly pulled by internal storms, overthinking, stress, fear, and emotional turbulence. This continuous tension shows itself physically. Tense shoulders, tired eyes, shallow breathing, quick reactions, or a face hardened by years of emotional weight. But women who embody this rare spiritual calmness live from a different internal posture. They may feel stress, but they don't let it root itself inside them. They may experience difficulties, but they don't surrender their entire emotional world to those difficulties. Their inner center remains intact even when life tries to shake it. They are not emotionally reactive, but emotionally receptive. They feel deeply, yet they handle their feelings instead of allowing those feelings to handle them. Over time, this emotional regulation becomes visible on their skin, in their eyes, in the softness of their facial expressions. Their body is not constantly producing stress hormones. Their mind is not constantly exhausting itself with obsessive thoughts. Their heart is not constantly closing itself to avoid pain. Because they do not carry unresolved emotional tension, their physical appearance stays more youthful. What makes this inner calm so rare is that it requires a level of self-awareness that many people never cultivate. Modern life pushes people toward overstimulation. Constant distractions, emotional drama, relationship chaos, and digital overload keep the mind restless and the nervous system on high alert. But these women develop a relationship with inner silence. They find space within themselves where they can step back, breathe, and disengage from the emotional noise that consumes the average person. This internal quietness becomes a sanctuary, and because they visit it often, it becomes part of who they are. It affects how they think, how they speak, how they move, and how they respond to the world. A calm inner world naturally reflects on the outer world. These women are not easily threatened, not easily provoked, and not easily thrown off balance. Their reactions are thoughtful rather than impulsive, and people sense this grounded presence around them. Even in stressful situations, they do not crumble or allow fear to dominate their energy. This doesn't mean they never feel fear or sadness. Of course they do, but they don't let these emotions consume their entire identity. Instead of catastrophizing, they pause. Instead of spiraling, they breathe. Instead of projecting their fears outward, they allow themselves to process them inwardly with clarity and compassion. This emotional maturity rewires how their body responds to stress, reducing the physical signs of aging that are often accelerated by cortisol, anxiety, and mental pressure. Another element of this inner calm is that these women understand the importance of letting go. Many people age prematurely not because of physical factors, but because of the emotional burdens they refuse to release. Old anger, unhealed heartbreaks, disappointments, regrets, and grudges weigh heavily on the heart and visibly on the face. When someone holds on to emotional pain for years, it changes their energy, and that energy changes their appearance. But women who possess this rare inner stillness have learned how to forgive, not always for others, but for themselves. They have learned how to break free from the emotional patterns that drain life, force energy. They understand that peace is not something that falls from the sky. It is something that must be chosen, protected, and nurtured. Their youth comes not from denial, but from acceptance. acceptance of life, acceptance of their past, acceptance of realities they cannot control. This acceptance does not make them passive, rather it frees them from inner resistance, the silent mental fight that so many people live with every day. When the mind stops fighting life, the body stops tensing. When the body stops tensing, it functions better, heals better, rests better, and maintains vitality longer. Their emotional openness also keeps their energy flowing naturally instead of being blocked by constant internal conflict. These women also tend to have a strong connection with their intuition. Jung believed that intuition is one of the most powerful and spiritual aspects of the psyche. Intuition guides them away from what drains them and toward what strengthens them. They sense when a situation is unhealthy, when a person is dangerous to their peace, when an environment is toxic. While others force themselves to tolerate chaos, these women quietly withdraw. Their inner calm gives them permission to protect themselves without guilt or explanation. Because of this, they conserve emotional energy, avoid unnecessary stress, and prevent themselves from being trapped in situations that would damage their mental and spiritual well-being. The calmness they exude also makes them more present in each moment. Presence is youth. Presence means fully experiencing life instead of rushing through it, worrying about everything, or living inside the mind instead of the body. When someone is fully present, they breathe more deeply, notice beauty more often, feel gratitude more easily, and experience life with a sense of wonder. This openness to the present moment reduces stress and increases joy, which becomes visible in their posture, expressions, and overall aura. People sense youthfulness not just through physical features but through emotional presence. How alive someone feels when they speak, how attentively they listen, how softly they move through conversations, how gently they interact with others. Another aspect of this inner calm is self-trust. These women do not constantly question themselves, doubt themselves, or fight with themselves internally. They trust their instincts, their decisions, and their ability to handle life. This internal confidence reduces anxiety and creates an ease in their demeanor. Self-trust is one of the most powerful spiritual traits because it brings the mind into alignment with the heart. When someone trusts themselves, they are not fragmented inside. There is no inner conflict pulling them in multiple directions. This sense of internal unity naturally reduces mental fatigue and emotional exhaustion, which again plays a significant role in maintaining a youthful appearance. They also do not compare themselves with others. Comparison is one of the greatest thieves of peace and joy. Many people age emotionally because they constantly feel inadequate, comparing their progress, their achievements, their beauty, their relationships, and even their purpose to others. Women with this rare spiritual calmness know that comparison is a trap. They remain focused on their own journey, their own growth, and their own evolution. This focus shields them from unnecessary insecurity, jealousy, or anxiety. Their face does not carry the stress of competition. Their mind is not burdened with feelings of inadequacy. By rejecting comparison, they free themselves from psychological aging. Their inner calm also generates a state of emotional generosity. They smile more genuinely, they express warmth more naturally, and they treat others with a kindness that is not forced but effortless. This kindness is not naive, it is grounded in emotional strength. They do not fear being kind because they do not associate kindness with weakness. Their calmness gives them the capacity to connect with people in a meaningful way, and meaningful connection contributes to emotional fulfillment, which extends youth and vitality. These women also understand the importance of solitude. They do not fear being alone because their inner world is peaceful rather than chaotic. Solitude charges their spirit instead of draining it. In their alone time, they reset their emotional energy, reconnect with themselves, and reflect on their experiences. This self-reflection helps them grow, evolve, and release anything that no longer serves them. Many people age prematurely because they avoid being alone, distracting themselves constantly to avoid facing their emotions. But these women welcome the moments of self-connection that allow them to stay aligned with their inner truth. Their calmness even affects the way they hold themselves physically. Their posture is relaxed rather than tense, their breathing deeper rather than shallow. their eyes softer rather than distressed. The body mirrors the mind, and when the mind is calm, the body expresses that calm through micro-expressions and subtle physical signals. This is why people often describe them as having a glow, a softness, a peacefulness that radiates from them. It is not makeup, it is the absence of tension. It is not youth, it is the presence of spiritual alignment. They also understand the power of emotional detachment, not coldness, but the healthy ability to step back from situations instead of drowning in them. When someone is overly attached to outcomes, to people, to expectations, or to control, they suffer deeply and age emotionally. But these women have learned how to let life flow without clinging to what they cannot keep or forcing what is not meant for them. This detachment frees them from emotional suffering that would otherwise drain their vitality. Ultimately, their inner calm is a form of spiritual resilience. It is the ability to stay rooted in who they are even when life tests them. This resilience not only protects their mental health, but also preserves their physical vitality. When the inner world is harmonious, the outer world follows. When the heart is peaceful, the body remains youthful. Their calmness becomes a shield against emotional aging, and their presence becomes a reminder that true youth is not found in the face, but in the spirit. Women who appear younger than their age often share a deeply rooted spiritual discipline that many people overlook. They protect their energy with quiet but firm boundaries. This protection is not loud, aggressive, or attention-grabbing. It is subtle, intentional, and deeply intuitive. Carl Jung believed that a person's energy field, what he referred to as the psyche's subtle body, is shaped by who they allow into their lives, what they emotionally absorb, and how much of themselves they give away. These women understand this instinctively. Their youthful appearance is not just the result of what they consume or how they care for their skin. It is a reflection of what they refuse to tolerate, what they distance themselves from, and what they decline to participate in. Their boundaries are spiritual shields that keep their inner world clean, balanced, and uncorrupted by the emotional chaos that drains so many others. Protecting one's energy begins with a powerful self-awareness. These women recognize the sensation of spiritual discomfort quickly. They feel it when someone is jealous, when a conversation becomes toxic, when an environment feels heavy, or when a person's intentions are unclear. Rather than ignore these signals, like many people do in the name of politeness, fear, or social acceptance, they honor them. Their intuition acts like an internal warning system, guiding them away from situations that would steal their peace or burden their spirit. Many people stay in draining environments for years, losing vitality, joy, and emotional strength, all because they believe they must endure everything. But women with this rare youthful trait understand that endurance is often misused. Enduring what harms you is not strength, it is self-neglect. And self-neglect ages the spirit faster than anything else. By setting boundaries, they prevent themselves from carrying emotional weight that does not belong to them. This emotional clarity reflects physically. When someone constantly absorbs negativity, their face tightens, their eyes become dull, and their body remains in a subtle state of tension. But women who protect their energy release emotional burdens quickly. They don't internalize the moods of others. They don't replay hurtful conversations in their minds endlessly. They don't allow people to drain them through guilt, manipulation, or emotional chaos. Their refusal to carry unnecessary emotional weight creates a lightness in their presence. It makes them seem younger, more vibrant, more alive. Another aspect of their energy protection is how they choose relationships. They do not maintain connections out of obligation. They do not hold on to friendships that have exhausted their purpose. They do not entertain relationships filled with drama, inconsistency, or emotional turbulence. They understand that every connection shapes their energy, and that allowing the wrong people into their space can silently damage their inner peace. These women do not fear walking away. They do not fear being misunderstood. They do not fear disappointing people who expect access to their time, emotions, or attention. Their loyalty is not blind, it is discerning. They remain loyal to people who honor their presence, respect their space, and reciprocate their care. This selective relational approach prevents soul exhaustion, which is one of the deepest forms of aging. They also protect their energy by recognizing emotional cycles early. If someone repeatedly brings negativity, chaos, or disrespect into their life, they do not wait for the 20th time to believe it. They see the pattern after the second or third encounter. They don't give endless chances under the illusion of compassion. Their compassion includes themselves. They understand that self-love requires boundaries. While they may forgive, they do not give people unlimited access to hurt them again. This prevents the emotional burnout that so many women experience from constantly trying to fix, heal, or rescue those who do not want to change. Their spiritual boundary setting also extends to how they handle conversations. They avoid gossip, blame-filled discussions, and emotionally draining dialogues that lead nowhere. They know that words carry energy, and they refuse to let their mind become a storage space for negativity disguised as entertainment or bonding. While others may enjoy the thrill of discussing other people's lives, these women find it distasteful and energetically heavy. They choose silence or redirection instead. Their refusal to engage in emotional pollution protects the purity of their inner world. This inner purity becomes visible in the softness of their facial expressions and the light in their eyes. They also regulate their exposure to environments that drain them. Whether it's workplaces filled with tension, social gatherings that feel shallow, or family dynamics that evoke old wounds, these women know exactly when to step back. They don't force themselves to stay in places that make them feel spiritually suffocated. Many people age emotionally because they constantly suppress their discomfort to meet the expectations of others. These women do the opposite. They listen to the discomfort and adjust their environment accordingly. Their internal compass always points toward peace. Another powerful boundary they hold is protecting their time. Time is energy, and they treat it as sacred. They do not say yes to everything. They do not overcommit. They do not stretch themselves thin trying to fulfill the desires of others. Instead, they schedule time for rest, reflection, solitude, and self-care without guilt. They know that a life without boundaries quickly becomes chaotic, and chaos is one of the fastest ways to drain one's youthful vitality. By prioritizing their own time, they maintain emotional balance and avoid the burnout that prematurely ages so many. Their boundaries are also deeply tied to emotional independence. They do not expect others to fill their emotional voids or validate their worth. They have learned to comfort themselves, reassure themselves, and support themselves internally. This emotional autonomy protects them from codependent relationships that drain energy and create emotional instability. When a woman is emotionally independent, she is not easily manipulated or controlled. She does not stay in unhealthy situations out of loneliness or fear of rejection. This emotional strength creates a sense of freedom, and freedom is one of the most powerful sources of spiritual youth. Women with this rare trait also know when to disconnect from the world. They take breaks from social media, from constant communication, from the noise of the outside world. They understand that the digital environment is full of unconscious comparison, emotional triggers, and subtle psychological attacks. By stepping away periodically, they cleanse their mind and reset their emotional energy. This reset keeps their mind fresh and their emotions stable, which once again reflects in their physical appearance. They protect their energy by choosing their battles wisely. Not every comment deserves a response. Not every insult deserves a reaction. Not every conflict requires participation. These women do not waste energy proving themselves, defending themselves unnecessarily, or engaging in debates with people committed to misunderstanding them. Their peace is more important than being right. Their serenity is more valuable than winning arguments. This emotional restraint prevents mental drain and preserves their inner calm. A profound part of their boundary setting involves learning how to disappoint others without feeling guilty. Many people age emotionally because they constantly suppress their own needs to satisfy the expectations of others. These women refuse to betray themselves to please anyone. They understand that anyone who demands their self-betrayal in exchange for approval does not care for them genuinely. By embracing the courage to say no, even to the people they love, they protect their mental, emotional, and spiritual health. This courage gives them emotional sovereignty. which radiates outward as confidence and vibrancy. They also avoid emotional vampires, people who thrive on drama, instability, chaos, or manipulation. These women recognize energy, draining individuals quickly, and create distance without hesitation. They don't make excuses for bad behavior. They don't rationalize emotional abuse. They don't normalize disrespect. Their boundaries around emotional vampires are uncompromising, and this protects them from spiritual erosion. Another important aspect is that they do not share their life with everyone. They protect their energy by protecting their privacy. Not everyone deserves to know their plans, struggles, or dreams. They understand that exposing one's inner world to the wrong people invites judgment, envy, and negativity. By sharing selectively, they maintain a sacred space within themselves that remains untouched by outside projections. This privacy gives them control over their emotional narrative and prevents unnecessary stress. Their boundaries also show up in how they manage their internal dialogues. They do not allow their minds to run wild with fear-based scenarios, past trauma, or exaggerated worries. When negative thoughts appear, they recognize them without attachment and redirect their focus. This internal boundary between the self and intrusive thoughts preserves their mental peace. A mind that constantly spirals into negativity drains the body of vitality, but these women refuse to let their thoughts dominate them. They also protect their energy by choosing intentional emotional expression. They do not bottle up their emotions to maintain an image of strength, nor do they explode when overwhelmed. Instead, they express themselves with honesty, clarity, and composure. This emotional balance prevents the build-up of internal stress that often manifests physically through tension, fatigue, or premature aging. Emotional expression is therapeutic, and they use it wisely. Furthermore, they avoid unnecessary emotional labor. They refuse to constantly explain themselves, justify their choices, or fix the emotional problems of others. They know that carrying responsibility for everyone's emotions is not compassion. It is emotional self-destruction. Many women age quickly because they become emotional caretakers for everyone around them. But these women set boundaries around how much emotional labor they are willing to provide. This refusal to overextend themselves keeps their emotional energy intact. Even their lifestyle choices reflect boundary protection. They are mindful about what they consume mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. They choose music, books, and content that uplift them rather than depress or distract them. They create environments that feel peaceful and nurturing. They treat their personal space as a sanctuary, free from clutter or chaos. This intentional lifestyle supports their inner calm and maintains their youthful energy. Their boundaries even extend into spirituality. They do not engage in rituals, practices, or belief systems that do not resonate with their soul. They trust their intuition when exploring spiritual paths and avoid energies or teachings that feel misaligned. This discernment protects their spiritual purity and prevents them from absorbing energies that darken their inner glow. Ultimately, their quiet firmness is what preserves their youth. They do not scream their boundaries into the world, they embody them. Their energy speaks for them. Their calm presence warns others not to cross lines that protect their peace. They move through life with a serene confidence that says, "My spirit is valuable, my peace is sacred, my energy is not for everyone." And this sacred self-protection, practiced daily and silently, is what keeps them emotionally light and spiritually centered and physically radiant long after others their age begin to fade. Women who look younger than their years carry a rare spiritual trait, which is their alignment with their authentic self. This alignment is not superficial or cosmetic, it is deeply rooted in the way they experience life, make decisions, and interact with the world around them. To be aligned with one's authentic self means living in accordance with the truth of who you are, without bending, masking, or pretending to fit the expectations of others. Carl Jung spoke extensively about the importance of individuation, the process of becoming one's true self, and how this internal harmony can profoundly influence both inner well-being and outer appearance. Women who embody this rare trait have achieved a level of self-understanding and acceptance that most people never reach. Their authenticity is reflected not only in their behavior, but in the subtle energy they radiate. which manifests as youthful vitality, a glow of inner harmony, and a magnetic presence that draws people in without effort. At the core of this alignment is self-knowledge. These women know who they are, what they value, what energizes them, and what drains them. They have spent the time and emotional effort to examine themselves, confront their fears, acknowledge their weaknesses, and embrace their strengths. This self-awareness allows them to make decisions based on personal truth rather than external validation. Unlike many people who constantly seek approval, follow societal scripts, or shape themselves to please others, these women live by an internal compass. Their choices, behaviors, and even their expressions are guided by this internal truth, and that guidance manifests in a calm, steady energy that does not fluctuate with external circumstances. Because they are not constantly performing for others or masking their true selves, they conserve immense amounts of emotional energy that otherwise would be spent on pretending. This conservation of energy maintains their vibrancy and slows the visible signs of aging. Living in alignment with the authentic self also gives them a profound sense of emotional freedom. They do not feel compelled to hide their opinions, desires, or emotions to fit someone else's expectations. They are not bound by fear of judgment or rejection because they have developed a strong relationship with their own self-worth. This internal freedom reduces anxiety, tension, and the kind of chronic stress that accelerates aging. In fact, a key reason many people appear older than they are is the invisible weight of pretending to be someone they are not. They spend decades wearing masks, altering their behavior and suppressing natural responses, which leads to emotional fatigue and tension that shows up physically. Women aligned with their authentic selves are free from these burdens. Their energy is light, expansive, and flowing, creating an impression of youthfulness that radiates from within rather than relying on external adornments. Another essential aspect of authenticity is the courage to embrace imperfection. These women understand that life is imperfect and that they themselves are beautifully flawed. They do not chase unrealistic ideals of perfection, nor do they allow comparison with others to dictate their self-esteem. They have embraced the truth that authenticity is more valuable than flawlessness, and this realization liberates them from constant internal judgment. When a person is not engaged in relentless self-criticism, their face softens, their posture relaxes, and their eyes retain brightness and warmth. The tension caused by self-rejection, insecurity, and internalized criticism is one of the most significant contributors to premature aging, and women who align with their authentic selves avoid this trap. They live in a state of self-acceptance that is deeply calming and rejuvenating. Authenticity also extends to how they express themselves creatively, emotionally, and intellectually. They allow themselves to feel fully without censoring or moderating their emotions to fit social norms. They speak their truth with clarity and confidence, not arrogance. They pursue passions that genuinely resonate with them, regardless of whether those pursuits are considered conventional, lucrative, or impressive to others. Their actions are a reflection of inner harmony rather than external expectation, and this congruence between inner values and outward behavior creates a natural sense of balance. Balance, in turn, is one of the most powerful contributors to maintaining vitality and youthfulness. When a woman's actions are aligned with her inner values, she experiences less internal conflict, less stress, and less emotional drain, all of which preserve her energy and her appearance. Women aligned with their authentic selves are also profoundly intuitive. Jung emphasized that individuation involves connecting with the unconscious mind and recognizing the subtle guidance it provides. These women listen to their intuition, trust their instincts, and make decisions that honor their true nature. They do not ignore their gut feelings, and they do not suppress inner guidance to appease others. This intuitive living creates a life path that feels effortless, where choices flow naturally rather than being forced or reactive. When life flows in alignment with personal truth, it minimizes unnecessary stress, frustration, and emotional conflict. Their faces and posture convey this effortless flow, which others interpret as youthfulness, vitality, and vibrancy. Being authentic also means having emotional honesty in relationships. These women do not manipulate, pretend, or hide their true feelings to gain approval or maintain appearances. They set boundaries that honor their needs, speak openly, and engage only in connections that support mutual respect and authenticity. This kind of relational integrity prevents the emotional drain that comes from suppressing feelings, faking reactions, or navigating deceit. Because their relationships are built on honesty, they experience deeper emotional satisfaction and reduced stress. Chronic emotional stress from toxic relationships, unexpressed feelings, or manipulation accelerates aging, but women aligned with their true selves avoid these energy-draining dynamics. Another important component of living authentically is alignment between body and mind. Women who carry this rare spiritual trait listen to their bodies, respect their physical limits, and honor their health intuitively. They do not push themselves to extremes for appearances or societal pressure. They move, rest, and nourish themselves in ways that feel aligned with their natural rhythm. This body consciousness is a form of self-respect that preserves vitality and maintains the physical foundation for youthfulness. When the mind and body are in harmony, the skin retains its radiance, posture remains natural, and movements appear fluid and graceful. Alignment of body and mind contributes to the overall aura of health and youth. Their authenticity also allows them to navigate challenges with grace rather than panic. When faced with difficult situations, they respond from a place of inner truth rather than reacting impulsively or defensively. This means they experience less chronic stress and tension over the long term, which protects their nervous system and slows physiological signs of aging. They understand that life will present difficulties, but they do not let external circumstances dictate their inner peace. This resilient alignment ensures that emotional turmoil does not manifest as physical fatigue, skin dullness, or tension lines, all of which are common when someone is disconnected from their authentic self. Women aligned with authenticity are also unapologetically themselves in social and professional contexts. They do not mimic others' personalities to fit in, nor do they conform to expectations that contradict their values. This alignment allows them to engage fully, speak confidently, and act decisively without second-guessing or overthinking. Because they are not divided internally, their energy is focused and steady rather than scattered. Scattered energy ages the body by creating nervous tension, shallow breathing, and muscle tightness, but focused, harmonious energy preserves vitality and projects an aura of youthfulness. Authenticity also involves the conscious choice to release shame, guilt, and societal conditioning that conflicts with the true self. Many people carry years of inherited or learned beliefs about who they should be, which suppress their natural energy and creativity. Women with this spiritual trait actively dismantle these constraints, reclaiming the aspects of themselves that society or upbringing may have tried to diminish. This reclaiming process is liberating. It restores a sense of freedom, lightness, and vitality that is visibly expressed in the body and face. Their expressions, gestures, and energy are unburdened by the weight of external expectations, and this unburdened state is a hallmark of youthful presence. Another subtle but powerful aspect of their authenticity is the absence of pretense. They do not chase validation through appearance, status, or approval. They do not alter their behavior to gain admiration or fit into social hierarchies. This absence of pretense allows them to conserve immense energy that others expend maintaining facades. They radiate a quiet confidence that draws others without effort. This natural magnetism is not about charm or superficial attractiveness. It is the reflection of internal alignment, which creates a form of presence that people instinctively associate with youth and vitality. Women aligned with their authentic selves also live with an integrated sense of purpose. They understand what matters most to them and structure their life around that understanding. Purpose is a source of inner energy that fuels passion, motivation, and engagement. When someone operates in alignment with purpose, their energy is not wasted on trivial pursuits or hollow obligations. Purpose provides direction and meaning, which reduces existential stress and promotes emotional well-being. This directed, meaningful living sustains the inner fire that keeps them vibrant and youthful. They also cultivate self-compassion as part of their authentic alignment. They treat themselves with the same kindness and understanding they extend to others. When they make mistakes or experience setbacks, they respond with patience and learning rather than harsh judgment or self-punishment. This compassionate approach protects their mental health, preserves emotional energy, and reduces the physical strain of chronic self-criticism. A body and mind free from internal punishment naturally reflect a softer, healthier, and more youthful exterior. Finally, alignment with the authentic self allows them to fully embrace joy and spontaneity. Because they are not bound by fear, societal expectation, or internal conflict, they allow themselves to experience pleasure, wonder, and creativity freely. They laugh openly, engage deeply, and savor experiences fully. This joyful engagement with life maintains their energy, keeps their nervous system flexible, and sustains a vibrancy that others perceive as youth. Life feels lighter, brighter, and more expansive when lived authentically, and this lightness is a visible trait that cannot be replicated by superficial means. In examining the rare spiritual traits of women who appear younger than their years, it becomes clear that true youthfulness is more than skin deep. It is the reflection of inner harmony, self-mastery, and alignment with one's authentic self. Their calmness acts as a shield against the chaotic energy of the world, allowing them to maintain serenity even in the midst of life's challenges. By protecting their energy through firm yet quiet boundaries, they preserve their emotional vitality and prevent the drain that prematurely ages others. And by living authentically, fully aligned with their true selves, they cultivate a sense of freedom, joy, and resilience that radiates outward, giving them a presence that seems timeless. Youth, in this sense, is not merely chronological, it is an energetic state that emerges when one nurtures the mind, heart, and spirit with care, discernment, and self-respect. Women who embody these traits demonstrate that looking younger is inseparable from being spiritually, emotionally, and psychologically attuned, and their example reminds us that cultivating inner alignment, emotional clarity, and self-trust is the ultimate secret to enduring vitality.